Good evening, everyone. My name is Katie Gideon, and I will be your facilitator this evening for the second week of August weekly setup. So glad you guys are here. I am so excited to share my Sunday with you guys. I was at the social hosting yesterday, so you got me for two socials this weekend. And I also want to give a huge shout out to my facilitator, Karen, who is calling from California. She will be in the chat here to help prevent some of those Sunday scaries and all of those amazing things. You're going to have to bear with me. Fighting a little bit of a cold, but I'm excited to be here in the hot Houston heat. But we are going to set up our August weekly, so make sure you have your August journal. We're going to be working primarily on page 32 and 33. This is week 32 of the year, which is nuts. That means there's only 20 weeks left this year, which is crazy. That is just baffling to me. But super excited that you're here. Couple kind of grounding rules here is that please set your chat to everyone so that you can share all of your tips and tricks and amazing repurposing ideas. Welcome to everyone who is brand new. We are so glad you're here. Welcome to all of our returning socialers. These are really fun events because it gives you all the really good ideas and also a way to set up. So we always appreciate you setting aside this time for just you and your journal to kick off the week so that there are no Sunday scaries. So we are going to get right into this. We are continuing with this month of replenish. I feel like I have not only been using replenish, but I've been using recharge, rewind, kind of all of these great kind of resting terms. And in continuing, we're going to have our replenish activity. We're going to then launch into our weekly setup, and then we're going to do our closing. So in continuation with our weekly setups, all of them have been around the same theme with the same focus area. So by the end of the month, you will have each week a different category. So we are going to explore the ways to replenishment in different parts of our lives. And so because this week actually has 5 weekends, we're actually going to have 5 different areas as opposed to the 4 that we usually have. And so without further ado, we are going to be working on week 2, and week 2 is replenishment of the body. Week 1 was replenishment of the mind. So if you didn't get to that one, that's perfectly fine. The way we suggest kind of approaching these is you absolutely draw this diagram on one of your note pages in the back, or you can use that little scratch pad area each week to reflect on how you can replenish your body this week, because we're going to use some of those actions and ideas and see if we can carry them to our weekly to-dos or habit activity this week. So in order to potentially recharge your body after we recharged the mind last week, here are a couple kind of ideas to look at for recharging your body, and not in any particular order. And we definitely want you to come up with your own. But other ideas is, again, to build that mind-body connection. Karen is a huge Pilates instructor, and I feel like that was always repetition when it came to Pilates. So finding a way to connect from last week to this week with that mind-body connection. So that's something as simple as learning a new skill or tapping into some of those learned skills. Stretching is always great. Dance was a really fun suggestion, and it was more of finding something with a beat so that you're focusing on the beat and a little less with all the cares and the worries that you're trying to do. I also loved the idea of a new perspective, kind of changing location. For example, I work at home some, so I'm in my little office right now, but there have been times where I've walked into the other room, just threw everything on the dining room table, just add a little bit new location, put my body somewhere else to see if I can kind of hit some of those more creative strides. And then the biggest, most important thing is listen to what your body needs this week. So I want you to think of what are other ways that you can replenish your body or recharge your core. And please share in the chat some of those ideas, and we'll check back in later. Thank you, everyone, for sharing these really great ideas with recharging your body. And what I love to see is that for some individuals, it's relaxation and it is rest and it is taking time away. For others, it is more of an action item to get out in nature, to find the dance classes. And I think at the end of the day, the most important thing that we need to think about this week is listening to our bodies. What is it that we need to recharge? What is it that we need to replenish? And then provide some of those action items. Again, is it rest? Is it movement? Is it those type of things? Because that's what I love with the definition of recharge, is it's going to be whatever you need to get yourself moving. So now we're going to get into the, kind of hard. So we're gonna jump right into the weekly spread. We're on page 32 in your August journal for week 32. And we're looking at the first box at the top with this week, I want to feel. This is a really fun kind of, I feel like a manifestation type opportunity to feel out what you want to feel this week. When you are sitting back this time next week, what is it you want to have accomplished, or what do you want to have felt this week? Or it also could be one of those reminders of this is what you need this week. And they can be affirmations, words, feelings, stickers, pictures, doodles. For me this week, it's a totally made up word. It is because like I said, I'm not feeling great, but I want to feel better, which I thought better was fine, but better seemed like a high ask because I needed to, embrace some medication. So that's why we're going with Weller. So I'm going to give you a few moments to think of and motivate kind of what do you want to feel this week? Welcome back, everyone. I loved seeing everybody's motivation for this week. There was a lot of positivity and optimism, but still kind of embracing the theme of at peace, rest, relaxed, replenished, all of those great things. And I'm one of those. I apologize to any English teachers out there. I can't think of a word, I'm going to certainly add either an ish or an to it, and to make it kind of suit me. And I feel like that's where I just embrace some of the humor. So it doesn't have to be an actual word. It can be that kind of phrase that you need this week that speaks to you, even if it is just uniquely you. But always a great idea to kind of manifest this type of idea of where we can be this time next week, or what kind of reminders we need for the week. And so still on page 32, we're now kind of a middle section on the left side. These are the weekly to-dos. And these can be the to-do list in the traditional sense. They can be the to-da list. And you're like, what's the difference between a to and a to-da? Mindset is everything. To-do is what I need to do. To-da is what I've done. And I feel much better about my to-da list. The Eisenhower matrix is also a popular operational tool. It's the do, decide, delete, and delegate. Really great approach, especially when I feel like we're having to juggle a lot of individual or unique things that week. The dread list is one of the popular ones, as is the eat the frog, the I don't want to do it, but I need to do it. I love someone is also do it as the I need, I want, I hope. But these are things that you don't want to forget or anything you want to accomplish, but you can also set it up in either kind of the 4-grid Eisenhower matrix, or you can treat it as a bingo board. But all of these are really great ideas. So share with us how you approach your weekly to-dos. Is it a to-da? Is it a dread list? Is it a bingo board? Love to see those, love to share, as well as what do we need to accomplish this week? I'm gonna stop talking, give you some more music, and check back in. Thank you, everyone, for sharing. I loved seeing the kind of celebratory approach to the to-do list in this regard. The bingo boards that you were able to celebrate and kind of make sure you get something accomplished. I feel like I fell notoriously into that routine of rolling things over from week to week. So it was all about how we approach it to actually get it done. So I absolutely recommend trying a new approach to it. But then I loved that someone pointed out that they use their journal solely for kind of this self-care. That is absolutely a wonderful way to approach this. I know some folks use it purely as that self-care tool. Others, it's kind of morphed into a planner and a self-care tool. I feel like I'm stuck in between with those type of things, but it's definitely one of those. It is your journal, and however you use it is absolutely the best answer. So thank you again for sharing all of your to-do lists and your approaches to these. We're still going to stay on page 32 in your August journal. We're just moving over to the next large box, which is the weekly major 3 goals. And you're probably asking what's the difference between the weekly to-dos and the weekly major 3 goals. It's all, again, kind of about approach. I use this as what is the mindset or the emotion that I want to have this week. Others I know break it into a work, body, and mind goal for each of those areas. So you can absolutely repurpose it in any of those things. You can also use it as a completely different thing. Maybe it's 3 topics that you want to know more about. Maybe it's a watch list. But for me this week, it is absolutely reinforcing the fact that I will probably need to take a sick day, and I'm going to have to be okay with that because it's what I need. Also remind myself to ask for help, because not only is work coming, but also my parents are coming to visit, so I will ask them for help. And just the reminder to hydrate and move, which is what I need. So that is what I like to approach with these, is these are the mindsets that I want to have, not necessarily the specific actions I need to do. So again, would love to hear some of your repurposing ideas in the chat. How do you differentiate between your 3 major goals and your weekly to-dos? 3 major goals is also a great way to check in with your monthly intentions that you set up earlier last week. So again, gonna stop talking and give you some time to work on it. Welcome back. Thank you, everybody, for sharing. What I really like to see is definitely breaking it down into the categories. The work, body, mind has been successful for some, and I loved seeing the Melissa's idea of must, need, and sustain, as well as Kay's idea to keep, stop, and start. Also, really great approaches to the three major goals. But again, there is no right or wrong way to approach these. It's whatever works for you. I also, I've been on my Silk and Sonder journey with this journal going on almost 2 years. And I feel like it takes a while to kind of get into the stride that works for you. So absolutely try something new, try something different, but also don't overwhelm yourself with all of the new things that you're trying to do all at once. And I feel like it's one of those, they can also be great ideas. And then you try them and you're like, absolutely not. You get to start again next week and take a different approach. So I feel like that's what's so nice about the opportunity to check in each week as something new and something different. And when in doubt, if you're struggling with some of these ideas, you don't have to have three goals. Maybe you just have one. Maybe you just kind of need to survive the week. I feel like I've had that a couple times where you're just so busy. So you don't need to have three. You don't need to have five. You don't even have to have one. So absolutely listen to what you need that week. Give yourself the permission, just so you're not sitting back and being a little harsh on yourself when you don't quite accomplish all those things. Now we're going to, again, stay on page 32. Now we're moving the habit and activity weekly tracker. This is at the bottom of the page. Here we'll flash back to this in a minute, but here are kind of some habit tracker ideas. And what, again, we usually see is what's the difference between the weekly habit tracker and the monthly habit tracker. A lot of folks approach these a little bit differently. I, for example, have everything that I want to get done each day on my monthly tracker. So it's stuff like walk every day. When I go to my weekly activity spread, I still include walk or move. I just add how many times I want to do it that week, or I quantify how long I want to do it. Because sometimes the weather isn't cooperating, and I'm gonna say the triple digits are certainly dampening my enthusiasm to go outside. So that's where I add kind of the reality check, as I call it. What can I actually get accomplished so that I'm not, beating myself up at the end of the week staring at a blank section. Other great ideas are the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 approach. That's just, again, another kind of approach with that mental idea of I'm going to do this 5 times, then 4 times, 3 times, 2 times, 1 time. What I also love is at the bottom right-hand corner of this, I know this is an idea that Karen, our facilitator, uses a lot. She circles the days that she's going to get those things accomplished, just so, again, it's more of that realistic goal instead of kind of just that kind of, are we going to get there? Are we not going to get there? But it's your opportunity to do stickers, coloring it in, dots, all of those things. And then, to be honest, this week, I only have 3 listed. And that's because I know realistically doing 5 this week is going to overextend me, and I'm just not going to be able to do that this week. So my 3 things this week are hydrate, read for fun, and walk my dog. That's all I'm doing, and I am perfectly okay with that this week. We will tackle next week. So I'd love to share some of the other habits, how you track these, how you approach these. I'm going to give you some more time to work on it. Welcome back, everyone. Thank you for sharing all of those really great approaches. But I absolutely think Karen certainly summarizes it quite well. This journal should never make you feel guilty. So that's one of those, take a deep breath, be realistic with what you want. Don't be hard on yourself, but definitely use this as a way to push yourself. I loved seeing that folks use this as kind of an evening or a morning self-care ritual routine. I think that's fantastic. I am certainly needing to work on some sort of routine, but love seeing how you make the connection across from the monthlies to here, how you change it from week to week. But I can also agree with some of those other folks. I am certainly definitely a creature of habits. I like to do the same things, and maybe, shake it up with like one or two others. But it's, again, another one of those, this should never bring you guilt. It should be there to provide some guidance and support. But also with, again, that is like that realistic lens of, here are the things you want to do, but life happens and life can be tricky, and sometimes it's navigating this a little in the margins sometimes, even though we always recommend self-care become a priority, which is, again, why you guys are here this evening. So now we are turning over to page 33. This is the meal plan section, or what I like to say, the most repurposed section of the journals. This has been used in that truest traditionalist meal planner sense, but I know some other folks use it to track food in real time. One of our other facilitators uses it to track leftovers. They don't get sick. This is also where folks have put daily affirmations, or the daily affirmations from the Silk and Sonder app. What I also liked is someone uses this as their to-do list because they needed a little bit more room. But you can certainly use it as an exercise tracker, a cleaning plan. Maybe this is where your appointment lives. You can also use it to track food, track symptoms if you're doing a new exercise plan. I've seen it used for those type of purposes. It's certainly one of those, in total honesty, I tend to keep it pretty blank most of the time. I've used it as a packing guide for when I'm going on a work trip and I needed to have specific outfits to wear each day, and I didn't want to pack. I'm a shoe packer. I didn't need to pack a billion shoes. So I've used it for that, but I'm usually okay with it staying blank. And so I feel like that's another one of those that can be repurposed often. So let us know how you repurpose this. Are you one of those meal planner tracker types, or have you used it a little bit more functionality each week? Going to give you some time to work on it, and I'll check back in. Thank you, everyone, for sharing. I love that the socials let us celebrate the kind of wins and the kind of success stories with some of these approaches. And it's also, a perfect forum to get support for some of those, maybe challenges, stumbling blocks, because sometimes I think perspective is just about everything. So I loved the way that everyone is repurposing these. I saw a lot of, weeks a little bit different with significant others outside of the house. So it becomes a little bit more of a as we go, which I feel like I love those type of weeks. And then I also loved Dina is that she actually uses it to write down how she's feeling in relation to this month's theme, which I think is also another great idea. This is a really good opportunity to grab that washi tape, cover it up. You're really not set if your heart is not set on meal planning or meal tracking, but it's absolutely a great tool when you need it to be used in that way. But that's why we love to see the repurposing ideas. So again, we are still on page 33. We're now moving to the right side of the page with the mind body health plan. I'm another one of those that I hate generalizations, but I'm going to do it again anyway. This is another one that gets repurposed quite a bit, which I always love to see all of the creative ideas and approaches that everybody has with these. So with this particular month, I think you're going to see it over and over again, but absolutely the 7 types of rest. You can see that the person here has completely kind of wiped out the entire right side of the page with post-it notes and washi tape. It covers the mind body health plan as well as the shopping list because they're covering journal prompts, which I think is brilliant. And as I said, here are some of those other mind body health plans with the I need, I feel, I want. Someone also went, what are things that made them smile this week? You can do the national day of in those. And then the other mind body health plan here is something that kind of asks reflective questions that you can then answer on your weekly spread. There are no limitations to this type of thing, but it's always great. I will go back and forth between the 2 slides. Like I said, this is one of those that I certainly feel that I tend to use more in real time. I have turned it into a win list where I celebrate whatever win it is that month, that day, because I usually can dwell on all the things I did wrong that day, and I need to take a step back, realize that I do a pretty good job most of the time, and so I need to celebrate those wins. So I have used that as a win list, and sometimes it's as simple as I got to where I needed to be on time. So it's definitely one of those you don't need to make big altering things, but the simplicity and the elegance in those kind of small steps is always worth celebrating. So again, gonna stop talking and I'll let you get back to work. Thank you everyone for sharing. A lot of really great approaches to this. Melanie, I love the themed category idea. I also love a good alliteration. So the Tech Free Tuesday makes me really smile, as well as the Thankful Thursday. I've definitely used those in weeks before, and I think it's a really great approach. I also think it's a good repurpose. Those T charts are fantastic, which is again that top left one. Go down the middle, maybe something that drained you that day or something that recharged you, kind of embracing some of those themes. But again, it's a repurpose opportunity. But if you don't get to it, that's also okay. So now we're going to move to the shopping list. I feel like this again is one of those you can absolutely use it in the truest sense of the shopping list form. It's in a great location with the meal planning in case you need to do that. I know Karen has used it for the cooking social ingredients that she needs. I've also used it in comparison with my packing list. So I had all of the clothes I was going to wear for that week. And then under the shopping list, I X'd it out and did packing lists. So that was like chargers, business cards, all those things. But I've also, gone the just sticker route. But that's also, again, a great way, another kind of big blank space that you can use. It can also be a bingo board, playlist ideas, any of those. And then the I'm loving section at the bottom. This is, again, a really nice place to reflect anything that you're loving in that week. Everyone has their own unique spin on it. So again, we're on page 33. I'm going to give you a few minutes to kind of finish it out, but absolutely share us how you use your shopping list or any of your other repurposing ideas, how you maybe if you repurpose any of the other trackers or how you approach your weekly spread. Thank you, everyone, for sharing. Evangeline, you just spoke to my heart. Yes, that was Newsies. And yes, I love Andrew Lloyd Webber. I love all those things. So I do throw those songs in probably more often than I should, but I just get obsessed with them. So thank you everyone for sharing your repurposing and your approaches to these. I just want to absolutely celebrate this amazing group that we have today of just the accomplishments you're trying to do, the optimism and the positivity that you're using to approach this. And at the end of the day, we've actually completed. We're done. Can you believe it? It's been an hour. Thank you for joining us for the No Sunday Scaries. We are so glad you were here. Thank you for sharing all of your amazing tips, tricks, as well as repurposing. If you are not already a member of our Sonder Club, we would love to continue the conversation over there. If you haven't downloaded the app, Karen has provided the link in the chat, as well as you can use your phone to aim at the QR codes. Also, the survey QR code is at the top. Karen will also share it as well. We read everything. We absolutely do. We want to make these better. We want to make these magical. This is why there's also now a Monday morning weekly setup social. This is why we have annual events. This is why we have the cooking socials. Because even if you don't write anything down, just the fact that you are here, you took time for yourself, you are being supported with this wonderful, amazing community, and we are so glad you took time for yourself on your self-care journey. We've also included the YouTube link, which is all of the recordings from our previous socials. It is not a searchable link, so you have to use the link that Karen is sharing in the chat or the QR code. All of the ones from the weekend will be posted in the next few days. So this is an opportunity to catch up on those weekly, monthly setup ones, as well as those unique ones that focus on the pages of the journal, but also super fun ones like Christmas in July. So anytime you feel the need, you need a social. I feel like there are times at the end of the week when there isn't one scheduled, but it's always great to have one. So thank you for jump starting your week with us. I will share on the next slide my playlist as well as the link to Spotify, but I hope everyone has a fantastic week, making sure that you are replenishing, resting, and recharging and listening to your body as well as your mind. We'll see you this time next week.
Before another night is gone, I'll find out where this highway takes me. You know I gotta travel on. Left my troubles all behind me. Back there when I climbed on board. Jordan River's where you'll find me. It's wide but not too wide to ford. And as I'm going along, I carry with me promises that can't go wrong. As I travel on, as I travel on my way. Left my troubles all behind me. Back there when I climbed on board. Jordan River's where you'll find me. It's wide but not too wide to ford.